Let me find the link here. Details here. Where's this on? All right. The LA Rams beat the Seattle Seahawks in what was a very entertaining Thursday night football game here in week 5. Of course, week 5, we're starting to learn about these teams a bit, week 1 through 4. I always think it's a bit of an extended preseason in terms of, a lot of fluky games can happen during that time. And by the time, we get later into the season, we look back and like, oh, that was a total, fluke of a week. That wasn't who that team actually was in terms of teams played really well. And then later they turn out to not be that good. And the opposite, a team can be very good, but they have a bad game. And we know that game was mostly a fluke. But the Rams beat the Seahawks here in Seattle. They have actually had a pretty good record in Seattle over the last couple of seasons. These teams have played a lot of Thursday night games. And the Rams come away with the win here. Let's go through the stats. Matthew Stafford, 25 of 37, 365 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 97.3 passer rating. Matthew Stafford has been very good this season for the most part. Didn't play very well against the Cardinals last week, but you look at the Bears game, the Bucs game, he was MVP form. This wasn't an MVP level performance from Stafford. Stafford was, I thought, just kind of his arm didn't look very good today. Now, I think that was mostly down to his injury to his finger that really did hurt him. I thought, there were a couple downfield throws that he struggled to make. And for Stafford, that's routine. It's been routine for a decade. And he just wasn't able to make them at times, or he underthrew them, and the receiver would have to adjust. And the gain on the play wasn't to the fullest that it could be. But Stafford, I thought, played clutch down the stretch. I thought, he definitely did enough to win. Was it windy? Mitch says. Let me check the weather to this game real quick. I think it was a bit windy, yeah. I don't think it was horrible wind, but yeah, they both did seem off. Wilson, 11 of 16, 152 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, 94 rating. Was sacked twice, obviously got hurt in the game. Wilson, when he played, he wasn't great either. The interception I don't think was necessarily his fault. Good play by the defense, good play by the Rams. But I thought Wilson I've seen much better games on primetime and overall from Russell Wilson. Geno Smith came in for Russell Wilson. Geno was good when he played outside of that one horrible interception. 10 of 17, 131 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick, obviously at the end, 78 passer rating. I mean, hey, does Geno Smith have a future in the NFL? No, but is he, did he do terribly today? I don't think so. But yeah, the quarterback play in this game wasn't great considering what we know Stafford and Wilson are capable of. I thought it could have been better, for sure. But as Mitch said, it was a bit windy, so I'm going to give them a bit of a pass. The run game, Darrell Henderson, 17 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Sony Michel, 11 carries for 37 yards and a touchdown. 118 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good production overall for the Rams run game, I would say, considering they haven't been the greatest of rushing teams. Sony Michel, I did think had a pretty decent game. I know, he didn't have a very good stat line, but he did make some pretty influential runs towards the end of the game. Darrell Henderson had a very good game, 17 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. Meanwhile, for Seattle, Alex Collins, of course, I know Mitch is in the chat. There's Alex Collins. Didn't have a great game today, rushing the football. 15 carries for 47 yards. Not great, right? Considering Alex Collins has been a 1,000-yard back before, or a 45 first down back before. He's been better. Geno Smith, 3 carries, 23 yards, doing it through the air and on the ground. The Seahawks couldn't really run the ball in this game, I'm going to be honest. It was very reliant on the passing game, and they threw for 8.5 yards per play. So you're not going to run the ball very much when you're throwing for 8 yards per play. The receiving game, Robert Woods, 12 catches, 150 yards, no touchdowns. Everybody's been talking about Cooper Kupp this season, rightfully so. He's been amazing. But, Robert Woods has still been good this season. 12 catches for 150 yards is still high-class production for sure. Cooper Kupp, 7 catches, 92 yards. Just classic Cooper Kupp. Deshaun Jackson, 1 catch for 68 yards. Of course, there was that huge 68-yard play. Darrell Henderson caught 1 pass for 17 yards. Van Jefferson, 1 pass for 16 yards. Tyler Higbee, 2 catches, 14 yards and a touchdown. Really happy for that since he's on my fantasy team. And Sony Michel, 1 catch for 8 yards. Overall, it was mainly the Kupp and Woods show, as it usually is, with a little bit of Deshaun Jackson sprinkled in there. 68-yard catch. Meanwhile, for Seattle, DK Metcalf is an absolute beast. 5 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Is he the best receiver in the league? Probably not. He's probably not the best, but is he top 3? I think you can argue he's top 3 right now. Outside of Adams and Hill, can you argue DK is that third guy? Mitch, would you put him third right now? Yeah, DK's a stud. Tyler Lockett, 5 catches, 57 yards. Not a great Lockett game. Will say 10 targets, only getting 5 catches. Some of that was Wilson's fault. DJ Dallas, 2 catches, 32 yards. Of course, had that long 29-yard catch. Alex Collins, 2 catches, 25 yards. Will Disley, 2 catches, 29 yards. Penny Hart, 2 catches, 19 yards. Travis Homer, 1 catch, 13 yards. Freddie Swain, 1 catch, 9 yards. Kobe Parkinson, 1 catch, 1 yard. I don't know what the Seahawks were doing. They were throwing it to a bunch of different guys who all had like 1 or 2 catches. They were just, sharing the ball, I guess. But I felt like there could have been more. I guess it was Tyler Lockett only getting 5 of those 10 catches that really did hurt them in terms of a lot of people getting involved rather than it being mostly DK and Lockett center. Of course, Tutu Atwell did a fumble in this game, but it is not shown up as lost or recovered on the ESPN game log. Defensively, Aaron Donald had a sack, classic Aaron Donald, 3 quarterback hits. Terrell Lewis had a sack. I know, Mitch, you were high on Terrell Lewis this offseason. He actually had a pretty nice game, I thought. There wasn't really a lot. Darrell Taylor had a sack for Seattle. The interceptions, Nick Scott and Troy Reeder got picks for the Rams. Jalen Ramsey was big in the first pick. He made a great defensive play. And Quandre Diggs made an interception for the Seahawks early in the game. Of course, that was a poor decision from Stafford, a poor throw. He was trying to throw the ball away, but just wasn't able to put it in a place where it would be thrown away, which says he's definitely top 5. I would agree with that. I think there's a couple guys you can argue that are top 5 right now, considering Julio's been hurt. Hopkins hasn't had a great season. Diggs hasn't had a great season so far. Now I'm expecting, Diggs, Hopkins, they'll get rolling eventually. They always do. But you've got to put Dia in the top 5 right now, I think. Yeah, I mean, that's all there really is to recap of this game. The other thing I'll say about this is I was talking about it in the Discord. Sean McVay, the last 2 weeks has not been very good in terms of play calling. Sean McVay has made questionable decisions when it comes to play calling. I thought he could have done better on several play calls in this game. I don't know if him and Stafford are still struggling to get on the same page. The thing is, they look so good week 1, right? Like, they look so good week 1. They look so good week 3. The last 2 weeks, they haven't looked very good. So I don't know if this is a concern, if this is, they're still trying to figure things out, or if there is something more to it. So keep an eye on that. Didn't end up hurting them. I'm sorry about that. Didn't end up hurting them in this game because they ended up winning. Rams defense, though, I thought played very well today. Rams, they forced multiple interceptions. They stopped Geno Smith when it mattered. They played pretty well when Wilson was in the game as well. So even though I think the Rams offense right now is trending down, I think the Rams defense right now is trending up. So that's what you've got to know about this game. There hasn't really been a ton. It was a pretty entertaining game overall. I've seen better between the two, but it was an entertaining game. I will say the defenses in this rivalry seem to play above their normal level, or the offenses both just play below their normal level. Like, you can look back ever since really McVay came in, these defenses and offenses have been they've mostly been defensive games. I remember last year in the playoffs, and both games last year in the regular season as well, they were defensive games, right? So, yeah, that's all there really is to this game. Now on to the teams going forward, starting off with the LA Rams. The Rams, I thought, so getting this win was pretty big because had they lost 2 straight games to divisional opponents, they would have been 3-2. And, you're riding a 2-game losing streak with a quarterback and coach that haven't been together very long. That's never a very good thing because it hurts chemistry. But they were able to get the win here. And then now their schedule really lightens up. They go to New York next week. That should be a win. Lions at home and at Texans. They should be 7-2 heading into November, where then their schedule gets kind of tough because they play the Titans, they play the Niners, they play the Packers, they play the Niners again, obviously the Cardinals, the Seahawks, the Ravens. Not an easy schedule down the stretch for this Rams team, but getting the win today was big and it was crucial because it gives them more breathing room. And because they'll likely be 7-1 heading into November, it puts them in a very good spot when it comes to making the playoffs and winning the division because the Cardinals' schedule does get tough. So, yeah, like this gives the Rams a lot of momentum, I think. I think they'll win three games in a row, and then they'll look like one of the best teams in the NFL, which I believe the Rams are. I believe the Rams are one of the best teams in the NFL. Obviously, last week wasn't a very good look for them, but I believe that was more of a fluke and more of a wake-up call for how good the Cardinals can actually be rather than if the Rams suck, because I don't think the Rams suck. I think the Rams are a very good football team. Now on to the Seahawks. What takeaways do I have for the Seahawks going forward? So if we look at the Seahawks, their upcoming schedule, let's see here. At the Steelers, they'll most likely win that game. Saints at home, that won't be easy, but I think they should win. Jags, that'll be a win. Yeah, so the Seahawks could be 5-3. They'll probably be favored in the next 3 games, but then it gets tough. At Green Bay, Arizona, You go Niners, you go at Rams, but there's also the Bears in there. There's the Texans, there's Washington, there's the Lions. There's 4 games that are winnable on this schedule right there, along with 2 more that you'd be favored in. So there's about 6 fairly easy teams that you should be able to beat. So that's about 8 wins. This Seahawks team probably still going to win about 10 games. I'm going to be honest. Like, I know they're 2-3, but when you look at the schedule, it is not that difficult. Overall, I think the Seahawks will be on the fringes of the playoffs. I don't really see them contending with the Rams or the Cardinals, or maybe if the 49ers end up gaining some momentum with Trey Lance, then maybe the Niners can get up there. But I don't really see them, winning this division, but I can see them getting to the playoffs. I think the Rams can win the NFC. I don't think the Seahawks can. So I'll put that out there. Any questions for you guys? No. Where is Rose? She's at her mom's house, I think. You missed the PlayStation. Interesting. But yeah, that looks like the end of the recap. I don't know if I'll do this every week, but I had time this week. I don't have school tomorrow, so I'm free. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful night and peace.